Hello students, myself Professor Devashish Bose, Head Department of Criminology and Forensic Science, Dr. Hari Singh Gaur Vishwavidyalaya, Sagar, Madhya Pradesh. Today I am going to present a lecture on Scene of Crime, Part 4th, BSc 3rd semester on the unit Criminalistics, which has been jointly prepared by me and Giriraj Sharma, PhD scholar UGC GRF at Department of Criminology and Forensic Science, Dr. Hari Singh Gaur Vishwavidyalaya, Sagar. Let's start our discussion while taking a look at what we are going to learn today. Module 1, Introduction to Development in Photography. Module 2, Sketching. Module 3, Crucial Elements for Sketching. Module 4, Method of Measuring Crime Scene. Module 5, Method of Sketching. Module 6, Importance of Sketching. Module 7, Comparison of Sketching and Photography. And finally, Module 8, Conclusion. Dear students, today we shall study about the development in photography. Here, development means the use of special photographic techniques for taking the picture of crime scene. So, let's start one by one. Use of instant photography. Often it is seen at the scene of crime that investigating officer finds the transient and conditional evidence at crime scene can be lost, changed or altered. As we know that these evidences at crime scene lost their identity with passage of time, so there is an urgent need to preserve them in original condition. For this purpose, instant photographic camera is the best media to follow by videography or still photograph. Let's take the example. Outdoor crime scene could be destroyed by strong wind or rain. So dear student, here crime scene photographer can use the instant photography camera. Infrared photography. Infrared photography also has significant use in crime scene photography, or it is accepted in law enforcement like still photography. Basically, infrared photography is a photographic process by which infrared radiation is recorded. Infrared radiation are invisible to our naked eye. This type of photography is applicable in those cases where the powder pattern is not easily visible. In addition, gunshot residue on clothing and other surfaces, blood stain or dark color clothing cause the difficulties in visualization. Moreover, it can also use for the aerial photography. Like other techniques, it also has its own drawback, such as it needs total darkness for loading, and also the factor of temperature is important. Ultraviolet photography. Like infrared photography, ultraviolet photography is also useful for crime scene photography. Dear students, as we know that some physical evidence will absorb or emit ultraviolet light. For example, biological fluid, that is blood, semen, perspiration, etc. and fingerprint. Next, cine photography. The trend of photography has been changed because traditional cameras were not much suitable for the crime scene photography. However, they are still being used by crime scene photographer. So, cine photography can be used as supplementary to traditional photographic methods. Somewhere, this technique also has its own limitation, such as to show in court you need a lot of equipments. Moreover, while watching in court, to clear any fact, you have to reverse and forward again and again. So, it will take time, while with the help of single photograph, you can easily clear the fact, or you can save your time also. Dear student, there are some circumstances in which cine photography is better than traditional photography. For example, in case of riot, police photographer could easily identify the rioter by cine photography. There is some rule which should be considered while capturing the crime scene by movie camera. Investigating officer should point out the crime scene place from where he has to start shooting of the whole crime scene. Before starting the shooting at crime scene, Crime scene photographer should visit the sites where he has to take picture, or he should recall all the facts regarding the scene for crime, because while shooting the crime scene, he will explain about the crime scene which would be recorded in videography. While shooting the crime scene, all irrelevant people should be detached or should not be recorded from the crime scene. Aerial photography. It is the taking of photographs of the crime scene from elevated position. Aerial photography can have different platforms such as helicopter, aircraft, balloons or drones. Especially this photographic method is useful for outdoor crime scene or when crime area is of much larger dimension. Aerial photography clears the relevant position of physical evidence at crime scene, but due to lack of resources and techniques, in every case it would be difficult to perform. Moreover, the photography of trace physical evidence is not much clear by aerial photograph. Photogrammetry. Dear student, photogrammetry is one of the most beautiful techniques to capture crime scene. The beauty of this technique is to make measurements from photographs. So, there is no need to make the sketch of scene crime, and crime scene investigator could easily collect the data from various purposes. Therefore, investigator could save the time and the accuracy of the explanation would be increased. Luminol and blue star photography. Dear student, luminol is a chemical reagent which reacts the iron present in the blood, causing an illuminescent effect. Luminol photography. It is a chemiluminescence reagent commonly applied to detect blood and blood stained impression at crime scene that were not visible to the naked eye, such as cleaned up blood. Luminol is applied in liquid from with a spray bottle to the area of interest. In this method, a suspected area is treated with the mixture of luminol and sterile water. To capture the image of chemical reaction of luminol, the area has to be darkened. A blue color appearance at the suspected site is the indicator of the positive result. As we know that luminol is a very sensitive chemical reagent and can detect even 1 part of blood per 1 part million of water or other liquid. All the steps are same as we perform in other photography. Dear student, this is the second most beautiful method of crime scene preservation and documentation, which is known as sketching. Still, the photography is a two-dimensional representation of three-dimensional area and items. So, investigating officer can find out some distortion of the spatial relationship of object in the photographs. Moreover, as we know that photographs of crime scene alone are not sufficient for recording a crime scene appropriately. Investigating officer should always draw a crime scene sketch. Dear student, as you know, still photography is not replaced by sketching or vice versa. Therefore, we can say that photography and sketching are complementary to each other to depict the crime scene adequately and properly. Sketches clarify the picture of the crime scene and make it easier to understand. So, dear student, it is therefore important to investigative officer or drawing man to develop the ability to make good crime scene sketches. The most important thing in the crime scene sketch is not considered an architectural drawing. Basically, crime scene is simply an illustrative diagram or drawing that accurately depicts the appearance of the crime scene. Another thing is that sketching the crime scene requires some special type of attention and skill on the part of investigating officer or sketcher. There is no hard and fast rule for sketching, but generally it is easier if two people work on the sketch. One person to draw and the other for taking the measurements. Dear student, Now we shall be discussing about the crucial elements of sketching. As we know that for the preparation of a sketch, one should not be a painter, artist or an architect, while true measurements of crime scene are appropriate for an ideal sketch. So, let's start the study of crucial elements. For the sake of convenience, these elements can be devised in following arts: heading, diagram area, legend, title block, scale and direction note. Dear student, now we shall discuss all the above points one by one. Heading. The heading is a notation that indicates what sketch has to be drawn or why the sketch was created. Investigating officer can draw a mini sketch, each with a specific purpose. Here are some examples. Investigating officer, first of all, they should draw a rough sketch of overall crime scene and their related area. In another sketch, one can depict a single evidential aspect such as blood stain or bullet trajectory. So, dear student, heading informs the purpose of the sketch to the viewer. Diagram area. Diagram of the crime scene depicts the whole crime scene and essential evidence. Investigating officer can face the problem while creating the crime scene sketch, that is, the too much information is available and curtailing of crime scene. Therefore, investigating officer should create a rough sketch at the crime scene which would include all the information. And another thing is that investigating officer simplifies the diagram. Legend. It tells about the label which have been used in sketch of crime scene to the viewer. For example, in crime scene sketch, A denotes room, B denotes gun and C denotes a dead body and so on. As we know that space in the diagram area of sketch is always lacking. So dear student, investigating officer should use the legend instead of name of the items. The use of labels allows the investigating officer to include more information without creating clutter or confusion, but each label must be defined in some fashion. It is significant to the viewer when investigating officer use the legend because this ensures a ready reference to the viewer. Title block. It provides the essential information about the location of the scene and creator of the sketch. Moreover, this section mainly includes the following type of information: information relevant to police station, address of the crime scene, name and designation of the sketch creator, and the time and date when the sketch was created. Scale and direction note. Dear students, now we are talking about the scale and direction of the crime scene. So, investigating officer should decide the direction, which is generally the north direction. So, one should indicate north direction at the right upper side of the paper or the sketch sheet. After deciding the direction, one should take scale of the reference that has to be used in creating the sketch. Now we will have an interesting module, method of measuring the crime scene. So, before starting it, we shall discuss some ideal principle for making crime scene sketch. So, let's start. Investigating officer must create two sketches of crime scene. In first sketch, one should represent the whole scene of crime and their surrounding things. For example, if crime has taken place in a room, so investigating officer should draw the sketch of the other room, entry and exit point or windows, etc. One should prepare a sketch at crime scene, not at home or office. While making the finished sketch, one should depict the main crime scene, not irrelevant things. Accurately determine north direction with a compass. North direction should be indicated right upper side of the paper with the help of an arrow. Now you have to take scale of reference to make finished sketch. A sketcher should use the legend for the various exhibits that are available at crime scene. At the lower left hand side of the sketch, sketcher should mention the list of evidence with specific details. For example, revolver, Smith & Wesson 2000 government model, or .9 mm caliber, serial number is 567849. At the upper left hand side, investigating officer should mention the following type of information, that is crime number, name of crime such as murder, theft, dacoity, or name of the act. Third, actual place and address of crime scene. Every sketch at the right lower side of the sketch will contain following information: scale of reference, time and date of sketch, sketcher, name, position and sign. For measuring the distance at the crime scene, investigating officer should use the steel tape rather than cloth or plastic tape, because due to looseness of the cloth or plastic tape. Dear student, now we shall study the method of measuring crime scene. As we know that in crime scene sketch, sketcher has to show the relevance among the physical evidence. So, they have to measure true dimension of the physical evidence. To determine the dimension of physical evidence, these are following type of methods: triangulation method, polar coordinate method, rectangular coordinate method, baseline method. So, let's start one by one. Triangulation method. Triangulation method includes the three measurement of the crime scene: A, base; B, shortest side of a triangle; C, longest side of triangle. So, in this method, first of all, sketcher has to take the baseline, or an established base may be used, for example, the wall of the house. Now, the next step is to take the two fixed point for measurement from the corner of the two opposite side. Therefore, the distance of all the physical evidence can be measured from two fixed point of the room. When the crime is in an open area such as park, field, beach or ground, the triangulation is usually applied. In this case, a sketcher can take any fixed point: the base of a telephone pole, electricity cement pole, bridge, road, tree or tower which has a fixed point. So, dear student, this method is useful for indoor, outdoor and mobile type of crime scene. In this method, scale of reference can be assumed for the measurement. So, it can be 1 inch is equal to 4 feet or 1 centimeter is equal to 4 feet, where if we measure taking A and B of a room wall as a fixed point and D and C as evidence, where A to D is 3 feet, B to C is 6 feet, B to D is 8 feet and A to C is 10 feet. After taking the measurement from crime scene, a sketcher can make the finished crime scene. Coordinate method. This method involves the measurement of the object at crime scene such as dead body from two fixed point. As we know, for the sake of convenience, this method may be divided into two parts. One is rectangular coordinate method and another is polar coordinate method. Both methods are having a lot of similarities instead of differences. One form of the coordinate method involves the use of baseline, which is drawn between 2 points. The baseline may be the wall, pole or corner of the wall. The measurement of objects are taken from right to left and from left to right. Dear students, we shall learn method of sketching. Generally, after reaching at crime scene, sketcher or investigating officer should do one thing, that is they should prepare rough sketch as soon as possible. Then they should draw the finished sketch once back in their station. Thus, first of all, we will try to learn rough sketching. So, let's start with this beautiful topic, rough sketch. A rough sketch is used to show the general appearance of the crime scene. Moreover, measurements will be recorded on rough sketch, or it will be the backbone of the whole crime scene that will help in the preparation of finished sketch. Therefore, for making sketch, we shall need the equipment that can be divided into two parts: writing material, lead pencil, sharpener and rubber, white paper or graph paper, drawing board and clipboard, pen and color pen, measuring device, tape 100 feet, ruler 15-inch, laser and infrared measuring compass, protractor, etc. So, dear students, sketcher can use any method according to type of crime scene that has been discussed above. Finish sketch. It is the crucial sketch of crime scene. To prepare finished sketch, sketcher should have following material: drawing paper or graph paper, tracing paper, drawing board, pencil, drawing pen, rubber, sharpener or eraser, drawing compass, ink bottle, ruler or scale. Dear student, now we are going to discuss the importance of sketching in crime investigation, or what type of information we can get from sketching, or how sketching helps to investigating officer. So, let's start with one by one. This is the complementary method of photography. It defines the exact dimension of relevant physical evidence. This is the permanent record of crime scene. It introduces the case to new investigating officer. It is easy and comfortable to the investigating officer. It is not time consuming like other methods. It introduces the crime scene to the police officer, honorable juries or honorable judges. It refreshes the memory of investigating officer and other relevant agencies. This is admissible in court of law as photograph. Sketches could help in the judgment of the statement of the suspect and witness. During the time of inquiry, it can help whether the person is saying truth or the person is lying. Dear student, when we compare photography with sketching, we will find that somewhere both are complementary to each other. Without any doubt, we can say one cannot replace the other. Both techniques have their benefits and drawback. There was a time when people used to do photography, but in photography, they could not take exact dimension of the relevant physical evidence. So, somewhere we can say it was little bit cumbersome to the investigating officer. Moreover, it was costly and time consuming. But nowadays, with advanced form of photography is available to the investigating officer, that makes it more comfortable and easy to the investigating officer. Now, we will talk about the sketching. It is also as old as photography. The problem is that if you do not take measurement with accuracy and precision, that will ruin the whole analysis. In addition to this, it is also time-taking procedure. It needs more concentration during the time of preparation of the sketch of the scene of crime. Indeed, we can say both are complementary to each other and it cannot be replaced by each other. Dear student, now we have reached the point where we have to sum up this lecture. So, in this beautiful lecture, we have learned so many interesting things like introduction to development in photography, sketching of the crime scene, whether it is indoor, outdoor or mobile crime scene, crucial elements for sketching. Investigating officer or sketcher should have knowledge about these elements. Method of measurement crime scene, triangulation method, coordinate method are good for measuring the crime scene. After studying this lecture, you will be able to answer what is the development in photography, how to draw a sketch, define photography, elements of sketching and so many other things. With all these information, here we come to the end of today's lecture. Do keep in mind what we have discussed today. It's time for you all to do some self-study. This is Professor Devashish Bose signing off. If you want to learn more and enhance your knowledge, you may log on to our website for MCQs, quiz, LORs at www.cec.nic.in. Thank you. Till our next episode.